your name? Yes, sir. What are you doing?
Good to see you. You too. In person. I know it. I like it.
Andrew, are we,
You're good.
okay.
You're rolling, you're recording.
So we're live, we're recording, so welcome back. It is so, feels so good to call this meeting to order and have you all present. It's good to see you.
Same, likewise.
You all have really, I want to congratulate you on the way in which you handled the city's business for the last year. We kept the city going. We were, your city employees were at work every day. But it sure does feel good to get back to this, where we can see each other, we can have conversations, and we can actually have the public go before us. So it is good to get back to this particular night. And a good time, since we've got several important things on our agenda over the next several weeks. Since we are together for the first time, why don't we just, let's see, as we call ourselves to order, we typically stand for a moment of silence. And it was going to be Mr. Lesby's turn. Ah, good. His timing is perfect. He can come right in and say the pledge. Come here, David. Not to make you feel conspicuous at all.
That feels like the United Nations.
But we've called the meeting to order, and it is you've been called upon to, we're going to stand for a moment of silence. You're going to lead us in the pledge.
Okay.
And we actually have a flag in the room right behind us where we can do that.
All right.
Take your flag.
Moment of silence. Shall we pledge? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, each of you should have a copy of minutes of our last regularly scheduled meeting. If you'd like to look those over for any possible corrections or additions. If there are none, we'll entertain a motion.
Motion, Mayor.
Thank you, John.
Second.
Oh, first, motion's come. Second.
Roll call. Roll call.
I think we should call a roll because we're not electronic. Would you do that for us?
Mrs. Hammer? Here. Mr. Hampton?
Here.
Mr. Lesby?
Here.
Mrs. Lesby Mitchell?
Here.
Mrs. Tina Sames? Here. Mr. Showalter?
Here.
Mr. Stone?
Here.
Mrs. Tackett?
Here.
We have a quorum.
The motion on the table.
And motion on the table, we have not voted on minutes. Correct. Motion been made and seconded. All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Thank you, that is approved. Each of you also have received a copy of the latest check register. It was somewhere in that 175-page packet you were sent this week. Okay, thank you. You've all indicated you received that packet. Under public comments, it's good to report to you that we do have a public comment tonight. Mr. Jim Woodruff with the American Legion has come before us with their request for their 4th of July event that they've done for Jim.
Thanks, sir. My name is Jim Woodrum. I'm the commander of the American Legion post here in Georgetown. I think most of you know, in years past, the American Legion has participated in the July the 4th parade. And following the parade, we usually meet down at the Royal Spring Park in the pavilion down there and give away hot dogs and water and have games and do the thing for the public there. And so we're proposing to do that again this year. But we're coming here today to ask his permission to do that, as well as block the street from Opry Alley to College Street to allow our parade vehicles and people to get in there and unload, and then should be from about 10 o'clock in the morning to about 3 in the afternoon.
Okay. The event is something we welcome every year. Connie, I don't know if there's any concern about the street closing.
I don't think so. We got done before.
Jim, the only other thing we're doing this year, we have adopted an addendum to our city event policy just to protect the city and others from COVID
Okay.
events. And Devin is going to send you a copy of what that is.
Okay.
We work with the other 4th of July vendors to make sure we can
Right.
work it out. Confident we can work it out with your group.
Oh, there's no
But
problem.
she'll get with you and explain that to you and what we need
Okay.
to do. So is there a motion for approval of, thanks, Tammy.
No.
Todd? I'll second it. Thank you. Tammy, was that your second?
That's right.
Thank you. Any questions for Jim? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank
Any
you.
opposed?
Thank you very much.
Look forward to the 4th of July, Jim. Just a couple of mayor's comments. Besides, it's good to be back together in the same room. A couple of things that happened that really, I thought, really good for our community, very fun events that happened in the last week. If many of you may have seen the CBS special section on their Sunday morning show that featured old friends and Michael Blowen on National Network News. Beautifully done.
Yeah.
Could not be a better representation of Georgetown and Scott County. And old friends of Michael Blowen are just treasures for us. But if you haven't seen that, be sure to look it up. It's a great piece for Georgetown. This last weekend, you probably noticed a lot of activity in town. We had 4 different graduations. We graduated Great Crossing High School, Scott County High School, Phoenix Horizon Academy, and Georgetown College. They all had beautiful weather and they all had big crowds. The chief of the parade around the bypass for all 3 high schools was pretty spectacular. So, all in all, those are fun weekends to have. Coming up on Memorial Day, another great weekend for us, and we'll welcome back the Horsey 100 this year. Could not do that last year, but are going to welcome the Horsey 100 back this year. They'll look different this year. They won't have the party and the camping over at Georgetown College where they have before. In fact, they're going to be at Scott County Brookings Park is where the Horsey 100 will have kind of their central headquarters where they can really spread out. People can camp easily. It's easy to get to all the routes from there. Chief, I know you all have been coordinated for some time with backups and making sure that we're ready for the cyclist. So good to welcome them back. Watch out for all the cyclists on the highway. It'll be a busy weekend for us. They will have a concert Saturday night. We'll kick off our concert series on Saturday the 29th. But rather than at Royal Spring Park where you necessarily get so congregated, it will be out at Brookings Park where the Horsey 100 folks will be. So it can be an event the community can enjoy as well. Think that should be a really good weekend. Also, I wanted to draw your attention. You may have seen it in the news graphic over the weekend about Cardone to host a concert series. Really big deal that's going to come to Georgetown. Very well produced. The Troubadour concert series is long established and well recognized in Kentucky, and fellow who created Woodsong's Old Time Music Show is affiliated with this. Some really fairly nationally known names. And there'll be these 10 concerts will happen at Cardone all in the month of June. With seating set up anywhere from 200 to 500 people. It kind of came to us in a very fortuitous way. Could not be happier that this has been done. It's also part of an initiative to thank people for getting vaccinated and to promote vaccinations, and free vaccinations will be available at the concerts for those who wish to do that. But, it's a good example of where our partnership with St. John's to transfer the ownership of Cardone to the diocese, but continue to have access for community events of this type was the win-win that we looked for. And I think it proves the validity of that. So get out and enjoy those concerts and enjoy this weekend. And that's all the mayor's comments I've got. For the first time back, you gotta admit that's pretty big. Okay, Chase under GMWSS.
Thank you, Mayor. In the interest that I have limited battery life, would you be opposed to me jumping down to our budget and do that first?
If you'd like to do the budget first, you go right ahead.
Thank you, sir. Very pleased to have this budget ready for council review tonight. Joining me, Mr. Jeff Nutter. He's our finance director. He's here to help me answer any questions. Jeff, if I speak incorrectly, please interrupt me. Questions as we go through, please don't wait for the end. I want to point out that this budget process, this is the intent to continue with our 5-year capital program, and most importantly, as we factored in our financing of the construction that has started for wastewater plant 1. So in the development of this budget, we've taken a look back at performance of previous years related to revenue, expenses. We've also looked back and examined our rate model that was developed back in 2019-2020 that went into our rate study and our rate ordinance. So we've really gone back and taken a look at past 2 years' data to make sure that our projections for this year and future years are as accurate as they can be. That's all happened starting back in January. So just a quick agenda. I'd like to go through what our FY 2022 sanitary sewer and drinking water rates will be per the ordinance. And I'd like to give you a quick overview of just how we went through this process, as I'm sure you've become familiar with, obviously, how you all have gone through yours. There's been new challenges this year. Like to discuss, again, the assumptions that we've continually revised in our projections for this year for both revenue and expenses. And then we'll kind of end on just our key budget components. And again, plenty of time for questions, comments. I'd like to refresh everyone on the work that the utility, the Board of Commissioners, and the City Council did in 2019 and 2020, looking at our critical needs analysis. That was our full system assessment, and our 5-year capital program that we're currently, this will be year 3, this proposed budget, and our rate study and our rate ordinance that was passed again back in 2020. Sorry. The rate ordinance that was approved, it called for a stepped increase on both water and sanitary sewer rates over 5 years. And please remember that rate ordinance is already approved. I'm not asking you to work on anything rate related tonight. This is simply our FY22 budget. So here for this proposed year 3, which will be FY22, for both water and sewer service compared to last year, our current year budget, I'll probably continue to say last year, but Fixed rate for water has increased 86 cents from 11.77 to 12.63. That's for the minimum bill of 2,000 gallons of usage. And then our variable rate has increased 44 cents from, 641 to 685. Likewise for,
Sorry. We just have to move it so everybody can see.
sorry.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, 1 second.
Except for Mark. Thank you, Mark.
It's up there.
Looks like it's thinking about that.
Thank you.
Here we go.
Thanks, Tyler. Sorry, everybody.
I think I was on water, our variable rate. Again, this is the variable rate. Anything over that first 2,000 gallons purchased goes to the variable rate. Jumping down to our sewer rates for FY22, again, we're increasing our minimum bill, the first 2,000 gallons on the sewer side from 1102 to 1174. So we have a 72-cent increase for that first 2,000 gallons. And then our variable rate will adjust as well. Went from 718 to 754, so 36 cents on the increase for the anything over 2,000 gallons. Again, already approved as part of the rate ordinance in 2020. I'd like to show you how our current rates compare to other cities, other peer cities in central Kentucky. Please note that these Georgetown municipal rates that you see in red on these charts, these are our proposed FY22 rates. Everyone else's rates are their 2019 rates, which is how we developed these charts back in 2019 with our rate study. So likely everything in blue has likely increased or at least stayed the same. I don't know if I've heard of any of them decreasing since 2019. But you can see this is our first, our minimum bill for a water and sewer customer combined. Our bill would be for that first 2,000 gallons, $24.37. So other than the city of Paris, we are at the bottom of this at this comparison where we like being. But again, that's for the minimum bill, and that's how we built our rates. We wanted our minimum bill customers to be most benefited. So our minimum bill toward the very left side of the chart, which is the good place to be. As we go up to from our minimum bill to 2,000 to 4,000 gallons, so you're paying 2,000 gallons minimum rate, 2,000 gallons variable rate, you can see that we jump closer to the middle with a combined rate for water and sewer, 4,000 gallons. Your bill would be $53.15. Again, we're approaching the middle of the group there. I'm still pleased with that. I'm still happy with where we are, where we landed in our rate study and ordinance. As you go higher into the variable rate, you'll see that we're actually right in the middle. That's $81.93. Again, right in the middle. Our rates do increase with the variable rate. I'd like to just point out, I'm very proud of our standing with our peer utilities, even on our variable rate, that we're offering the service that we do to our customers with what I believe is a very fair and very competitive rate structure. And the current rate is allowing us to make these very necessary, these are not wants, these are needs within our capital program, They are letting us make these overall system improvements, including the upgrade at wastewater treatment plant number 1, our 800-pound gorilla of a project. Generally, when a utility undertakes a plant expansion, especially the magnitude of ours, their rates will be right here. Whoever's done the most recent plant expansion will be right here where Frankfurt is. We're doing our plant expansion. We're still right in the middle. Very proud of that. Any questions on rates as before we move on kind of into actual budget?
Chase, your point is correct. Historically, when we looked at charts just like that, we knew that likely the cities to the left had not had a capital improvement project for a long time, and they were probably due one at any moment. The cities on the right side of the line have had a capital improvement, and they had to have a rate increase to fund it. So it's all a function of timing and the condition of your capital plan.
Again,
Rates
Jeff,
are driven by those things.
Yes, sir. Jeff and I are going to look into updating this. I wish we'd had that ready for tonight, but we did not. But again, I would be willing to bet that where we are right here, if we update that to where everybody is in their FY22 numbers, I bet our red bar here moves to the left on this comparison. And I know one for sure, the city of Nicholasville has just opened bids on their latest plant expansion. I'm quite certain that this rate is going to be moving to the right. Our budget schedule, how we've developed this, we started this process as we do back in January of this year. We've spent February, part of March compiling departmental budget requests, meeting with those supervisors and staff. By March, we did compile our entire draft budget, and we finally presented that to our budget committee, similar to the city has theirs, which consists of our senior staff, supervisors, as well as 2 of our board members. That's Les Jarvis and Lewis Wolf, are our budget committee members. After they gave us the green light earlier this month on our draft, we presented that to the Board of Commissioners at our recent meeting on the 18th of this month, and this budget was unanimously approved by the Board of Commissioners with permission to go ahead and bring this to council. Our key budget projections are as follows, not up here on the screen, but for water usage, we are anticipating a 4% growth rate in our usage and revenue, and for sanitary sewer, we are anticipating 2%. That's flipped from last year. We're anticipating the 2% growth rate. For water and sewer connections, what we had budgeted in FY21, we have outpaced, but to stick with more of a conservative budget, we have had trouble here anticipating this in the past, so we've stayed with 150 new connections, both water and sanitary sewer. Within this budget, we have marked 3% for increase to salary and wages. That will be a portion of that based on cost of living and a portion of that merit-based. We are anticipating a 12% increase in our contribution to the retirement system through CERS. And the really good news with this budget is our healthcare plans ended up with our high deductible. Our 2 plans that we offer, our high deductible and our PPO, both actually had very minor decreases. Dental and vision had minor increases, but pretty standard for what we've seen on dental and vision. But we were thrilled when we were expecting probably around a 12% increase on our group insurance, and we ended up having this minimal increase or decrease, so we couldn't be happier with that. Moving on to our revenue projections for Fund 1, that's our general operating budget. We were projecting just over $12.9 million in revenue, which is an increase just over $250,000 or just under $250,000 for this coming year, roughly 2%. Fund 2 is projected at just over $2.1 million, and that's an increase just over $177,000 or from FY '22 for FY '22, and our total revenue for this budget is projected just over $15 million, which is an increase of about 2.9 from last year. FY 21 or 22 expenditures, I'm sorry, they're separated out here between funds, and Fund 1 expenditures are, I'm sorry, just going back just for everybody's information, Fund 2, that's completely funded, those expenses by Toyota Motor Manufacturing of Kentucky for Plant 2. Plant 1, again, or Fund 1 is our operating budget without Toyota. So those expenditures are projected at $12.5 million, with our increases coming from increased retirement contributions, increased depreciation expense, utility increases, and our capital projects. We've experienced other increases at Fund 1 in this last year that we know we're going to have to carry over, as well as things we anticipate new in this year, those being increased legal fees. It seems like we're having to utilize counsel a lot more every year as things get more challenging, and as well as with the closure of Central Kentucky landfill, that's where we dispose of sludge from both of our all three of our wastewater treatment plants. We expect sludge hauling and disposal fees with a new vendor to more than double based on the quotes we've received in anticipation of bidding those services out. But just the preliminary research, that's going to be a huge increase to Fund 1 that we will have to incur. Again, sludge disposal doubling this year. We hope that's what it's limited to. Fund 2 expenditures just under $2.8 million. So capital expenses for Fund 1 by department request, these are more of our O&M budgets, just under $1.7 million for Fund 1, and for Fund 2, just under $1.9 million. Obviously, we have other parts factored in for Fund 1, that's why it's less than Fund 2 that goes to Toyota. Those are not shown here in that $1.7 million number. A big item that kind of sticks out when you review this budget is our vehicle replacement at just over $800,000. You have to keep in mind we have long anticipated this is the year that we would buy a new sewer jet and vacuum truck, combination truck for our collections department. We have been putting away money for that purchase. That will be somewhere between $400,000 and $500,000 for that piece of equipment. We've been putting money away for that purchase for a number of years in past budgets. Then another thing to point out, the rest of the vehicle replacement is more so just duty trucks. However, we had to push, I think, all of our purchases for FY '21 into the next budget year. They've been ordered, but they've not arrived due to supply chain interruption. We cannot get the trucks in, so a lot of those expenses, they won't hit until FY '22. This is not an inflated vehicle replacement budget. This is just more so looking at one major piece of equipment that's long been saved for, as well as 2 years worth of actual duty truck purchases.
Chase, do we have a back truck now? I know we used to. We still do.
We do, and we struggle to keep it running. So this is a long anticipated purchase, maybe the most important piece of equipment that we own and operate.
There's been times that I guess the city has utilized that truck, right?
Yes, sir.
Storm sewer items.
Anytime Eddie calls, we send him out. So that's never a problem. Capital expenses by Fund 1, department request. I'm sorry, I'm jumped down here. In maintaining on capital projects for Fund 1, in maintaining our schedule of our 5-year plan, we have 10 capital projects slated for this fiscal year, totaling just over $28.6 million. These are funded from revenue, and these include the interest payments that we will start making on South Sewer Extension. They include the first year of payments that we're anticipating for Judy Construction on the upgrade and expansion. We will take that project to bond later this year, and we could likely do a bond anticipation note for that project as well. But just remembering that within our 5-year program that we had identified, we started with 110 projects that we felt were absolutely necessary. These are needs, not wants, and we cut that down to 83, and we're trying to keep up with that project. But every one of those 83 projects, if we don't do them, there is it's not a thing of if, it's a thing of when we will experience some sort of imminent failure within our system. That is really all I have for the high points. If we want to dive down into the budget that you have in your packet, Jeff and I are eager to answer your questions.
Any questions for Chase or Jeff?
Chase, I have a quick question.
Yes, sir.
When we're looking at, I guess it's regarding number 1, and it says budget fiscal year 2021, and it shows what the water usage revenue, I guess, was. It's $5,920,000, and then the sewer was a little over $6 million. But in year 2022, at least the one that I'm looking at, which is page 1
Okay.
on the budget that you all sent us, they kind of invert, and the water revenue goes up to $6.4 million, but the sewer revenue goes down to $5.7 million. I just kind of wondered, if that's, I don't know what's going on. It might.
Keeping in, when we developed our rate model in 2019, 2020, in that rate model, in that rate study, we made a lot of assumptions. We found things in the first 2 years that we based our budgets on. We found things both years where we had just overestimated sewer revenue.
Okay.
So we're trying to correct that.
Okay. It does say budgeted, so it's not like actual. So okay.
We've been in the red on sewer revenue almost every month and we thought we had it fixed with our current budget from the first year where we were tracking behind. We made some more adjustments this year. We hope any variance we have to our budget number on sewer revenue will go the way we want it to this year.
Okay.
David, I would add, Chase, if you don't mind.
Yes, sir.
I would add that that's a comparison of budget to budget.
Right.
We are contemplating an increase in sewer revenue from where we think our actuals will be this year. But it is admittedly hard to see on that format as it is compared to budget years.
No problem. That makes sense.
Thank you, David.
Just a general question, I was looking at these 2 charts.
Yes, ma'am.
Talking about the customer versus the sewer. Do we not have a whole lot more people in sewer than in water, even more than this reflects?
They've actually gotten very close, but I do believe there are more sanitary sewer customers.
Because everybody that has Kentucky American in the city would have Georgetown sewer, right?
Yes, ma'am.
But don't have Georgetown water.
Correct.
It doesn't look like the numbers are very far apart, but I would have thought we had a lot more people on Kentucky American water than that.
Jeff, I'm pretty sure we've tracked that those are water and sewer customers, whether they're in one of 3 categories, whether they're water only, sewer only, or water and sewer. They've almost evened out. Is that correct, Jeff?
Yeah, that's correct. And there is, the last 6 months or so, sewer has been higher than water. Is it not reflected that way on the chart? Or is it slightly
It is,
higher?
it's just a slight, but it's just a slight
Well,
increase.
I think there's a trade-off too between Kentucky American Post and then we have several folks from sewer on it as well. So there's a bit of a trade-off here where it's close, but sewer, for the last few months at least, sewer customers are higher than water.
Good.
Also, Chase, it would be helpful to see the updated other cities when you get a chance to show us.
I will
that.
get those emailed out and get those to you.
Just-
So
you
I'm
know,
interested to see that too.
We did, we voted on this a while back, but people still ask questions about it.
Sure.
And it's always nice to say we fall in the, down on the left side of that. So if you can update that.
I'd be willing to say that right now, what I showed in this one, again, any changes we make to that is just gonna make us look better.
That's
So,
right, and that's why I would like it.
Sure.
So, thank you.
Any other questions for Chase? Chase, for us, you need a resolution.
Approval of the budget, yes, sir.
Is there a motion? Thank you.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. If there are no questions, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries, Chase.
Thank you.
Don't you have to go back and pick up A through?
Yes, sir. A number of purchase orders. And if it's okay, as usual, I'll run through all of them. Stop me if you'd like, or we can do questions at the end. But first purchase order is to Judy Construction in the amount of $603,352.80. That's for work completed in April related to the construction contract on wastewater plant 1 upgrade and expansion. Judy is getting after that project. They know that the deadline, how important it is. I believe that they're actually ahead of schedule at this point, just in the first 2 months of the process. But they're moving very fast, and you can. I would suggest you stop out there every once in a while and see what's going on there. Next, we have a purchase order to Esri in the amount of $10,700. This is a purchase order for our ArcGIS software for multiple departments. This is an annual budgeted expense. It's a purchase order for GRW engineers, and this is in the amount of $12,513.38. And this is for continued now. They're done with design. They are helping us with construction administration and resident inspection on the plant. And this is for the work completed in March and April billing periods. Second half of March, first part of April. And we have a purchase order for Hems Glass in the amount of $15,825. This is related to materials and insulation for security upgrades. This is specifically for ballistic glass and ballistic panels at our administration building and our customer service office. We reached out to multiple vendors on this project for these services, but we only were able to get the 2 responses. And I believe Hems Glass was one of the subs for the city's work that was done at City Hall. And again, these security upgrades are part of a current year budgeted project. Next, we have a purchase order for leak eliminators for $42,368. This is for work being completed via bid prices within our annual services contract. So this is through our unit price contract. You'll see a lot of purchase orders for this now that it's been bid and awarded. But all of these, even though it goes through one, the unit prices were bid. This purchase order is ongoing effort to replace our 10-inch sewer that runs under I-75, and that sewer, the current sewer, is deteriorated such that we feel that sewer failure is imminent. We have a piece of it at the office that they removed, and the top is like paper thin, so it's rusted. It was not installed properly. If we don't get it fixed, we're going to have a major catastrophe under I-75 interchange. The last 2 purchase orders related to a legal settlement reached through mediation with a property owner in northern Scott County. The first purchase order is again for leak eliminators in the amount of $92,253.33, and this is for sewer-related work that we will complete on this person's property. This work is going to be, again, it's completed via the bid prices in our annual services contract. And then the second part of that mediation is purchase order. I've just titled it legal settlement. That will be a check written to this property owner for $27,500. Our liability insurance will be matching that, so it will actually be total the amount of $55,000. That's the settlement payout. If you'd like further information on these, either of these purchase orders related to the legal matter because of the agreement and its confidentiality clauses contained in that agreement, I would defer to the city attorney about whether we want to discuss those in a closed session. So that's the information on all of our purchase orders. happy to take any questions you have, but if it's those last two items, F and G, again, I'll defer to the city attorney.
Can you probably say who the landowner is?
And we could enter closed session if you have questions about it.
Which, I can make that motion.
Yeah, if council wants to discuss those two items, I'd recommend a closed session.
So I move to enter executive session pursuant to KRS 61.8101C to discuss matters of proposed or pending litigation against or on behalf of the city.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Have all non-council members